Hey everybody, it's Missy and I'm back with another layout for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team. And our theme this week is spring or Easter. And so I decided to pull out the Life is Beautiful collection. I've actually had this for a little bit, actually for a long time. And I got this before I was on the design team and I still have a lot of it left. And it's just so pretty. And when I look at it, I definitely see spring because there are lots of flowers, lots of butterflies, and even though it's got some of the dark navy in it, it's got a lot of bright springy colors. And so I'm going to focus on those colors. And I have these cute pictures of my daughter, and these are from probably, gosh, 4 years ago. She was still a little thing. And we were outside, it was April, and she was just running around in shorts and a tank top, and she was just spinning and dancing and running, and she just looks super cute. And I thought the colors match this collection really well. So I've decided to go with a big title, and I love to do this a lot. This is a cut file from the cut shop, and I'm going to peel it off my sticky mat here and then back all of these open letters with some pattern papers. I didn't really want to cut into any of these papers. Some of them I already have, but most of them were still full. And I got doubles of a lot of these papers. And so I felt less bad about cutting into them, but they're just also pretty. And, you know, every time I do this, I think, what if I want to use this as a 12 by 12 background? Do I really want to cut into it? But I just decided to go for it and just do it. So I'm going to cut up all of these shapes that fit the letters, and I'm going to back them with the papers. And so I want each letter to look a little bit different, and I want some patterns, some kind of solid papers. I don't think there's any exact solids in this collection, but there's some that are kind of solids, either they have a very subtle pattern on them. I love that floral paper. I think it's gorgeous. So pretty. So I'm just going to do one more letter here on camera, and then I'm going to do the rest off camera because this process is kind of boring to watch, and you know, it did take some time to go through all the papers and decide which color I wanted behind which letter, and then the cutting and the gluing. You know, this is a very easy technique to do. It just takes time, so it's one of those things that you just need some patience for. Okay, so I've got it all done, and I decided to just go with a white background since I want this to be kind of light and airy. I didn't want it to get really dark, and I think the white background is good for that. Now I am going to do a little bit of mixed media, not a lot. This is actually, I only use one shade or one color for my background, and it's not even a lot. But I'm not using any gesso or anything because I don't plan on using a lot of water, and I don't really feel like I'm going to do a lot of blending, I guess. These are some of my Shimmers paints. One's an Inklings and one's a Creamies, and they're just slightly different shades of blue, and they match the blue in the collection perfectly. And so I just kind of want to create some kind of, you know, watercolor design behind the title so you can see it coming out from behind there. And a lot of times I'll go with multiple colors. I thought about going back in with some yellow and some of that peachy orange color, but then I thought, no, I think the blue looks pretty on its own. And so I'm going to just stick with this nice, light, subtle blue. I am going to add a little bit of a gelato, and you know, I did learn here, well, I didn't learn, I already knew this, but whenever I smudged the gelato and then tried to rub it with my finger, the paper wanted to kind of ball up, and if I would have used gesso, that would not have happened. But I didn't, because I didn't plan on using a lot of water, and I didn't really use a lot of the gelato, and it really wasn't a big deal. I mainly just wanted a little bit of a darker shade of the blue here and there. So I just decided to come in with my Jenny B blue, and it's a darker turquoise color, and just kind of go over certain spots of that watercolor area. It's just nice to have, you know, some of it really light, some of it a little darker, just to, you know, play on that one blue color, but just have different shades of it. And that's how it's going to look right there. I'm going to not add any more to the background, mainly just because I like the softness that this gives. It's the background's not stark white anymore, and it just gives a little bit of interest. Kind of reminds me of a sky. And since she's outside, I thought that would look cute. I'm going to add a little bit of tissue paper behind my pictures there, and then I'm going to take some time and cut up some foam and add it to all of the letters because I want to raise up the title. And since the title is now raised up, you can see that instant shadow that it creates. And I'm going to slide my pictures underneath it. So the pictures are going to be flat, but the title is going to be lifted. And I have not glued anything down yet. I'm going to add a little bit of thread in coordinating colors. I've got yellow and blue that I'm going to bring in, and just add a little bit of it behind some of the letters just to give it some interest and to give it a little bit more of, you know, texture and color in certain areas. And I arranged my pictures the way that I did. If you look at the top picture, she's got her arm kind of stretched out. She was spinning around, and the P kind of goes right in the space of the picture there, where her arm is like right on top of the P, and it curves around where her hip is. And I thought that was the perfect spot. And then I used the picture on the left. She's leaning inwards toward the right, like she's running, and it looks like she's running towards the title. And also on the top one, she's got her head tilted to the left. And so both pictures are kind of like bookends, I guess you could say. She's looking to the left, she's running to the right, and it just sort of encloses the title. So now I'm going to work on embellishing. I'm going to bring in lots of florals since this is a spring layout. When I think of spring, I think of flowers and I think of butterflies. And so I'm going to pull in both of those elements. I'm going to do a little more fussy cutting here on this really pretty floral paper. And this collection has that orangey color, but it also has like a peachy color. So it's got a couple of different shades of that orangey melon color, but it also has some corally pinks as well. I am going to pull in some butterflies. These are from the wood veneer pack. I'm going to use 2 of those. And I also cut the word spring right there that you can see on my cameo, and I just used white cardstock. So my title is going to be Spring Snapshots. I just didn't know where I wanted to glue the spring part at this point. And I decided to make it white just because, like I said, everything's kind of light and airy. I've got a lot of color going on, and I didn't want to add too much more as far as color goes. And I always get a lot of questions about what kind of glue I'm using in my fine liner bottle. It is the Scotch Tacky Glue. It used to be called Scotch Quick Dry Adhesive, but it's the same thing. They just changed the packaging and they changed the name. But it may be different, but to me it works the same. I haven't noticed any changes. And I get that at Michael's, and it's great. I've never had a problem with it clogging up my fine liner bottle or getting stuck in there or drying up. If you leave the lid off for longer than a few minutes at a time, it will dry. So if you use it, just make sure you put your lid back on pretty frequently after you use it. So I'm going to do a couple more fussy cut flowers in that darker blue. There's a little bit of like a darker turquoise on that floral paper, and so I'm going to fussy cut out a few of those and place them on some of the letters just to bring that color around the page a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of a darker turquoise thread just to kind of add a pop of, I don't want to call it darkness, but just a little bit darker shade. And it's going to pull out the colors of those darker flowers. And those florals were perfect for layering underneath the letters and underneath the pictures. And I love how the leaves just sort of kind of peek out from everything. I know I say things peek out a lot, but that's just the best way to describe it. I love layering things in, and so you can only see part of it peeking out. And so that's how I describe that. I hope that makes sense. So I'm trying to figure out where I want spring to go, and it's going to go right there. I thought about putting it at the top, but I'm going to layer it in right on top of that floral die cut. And that font is called Shoreline, and I got that for free at dafont.com. It's one of my favorite scripty fonts. And it cuts wonderfully in my cameo. So here come those butterflies again, the wood veneer. I wish there was a third one that I could put at the bottom, but there was only two. So I'm going to use a flower down at the bottom. And this layout actually came together pretty quickly after I decided to go with the big title and cut that out and got it backed and decided to put it in the center of the layout like this. The rest of it came pretty quickly because I only had so much room left to work with. I knew where the pictures were going to go, and then after that was done, it was just what kind of embellishments am I going to add. So this is a great way to kind of limit yourself, I guess you could say, because that way your design is pretty much already done for you. So it doesn't take as long as some other layouts. And for me, that's, you know, that works out great. But they don't always come together this fast. So I'm just testing out a couple of other embellishments that I thought were really cute, but I just didn't find a place for them on this page. And I think it's busy enough at this point. I didn't want to muddy up any other areas. I did add a little flare button, and it's that darker turquoise color that says Hello Sunshine right above the SP in spring. And one of the last things I'm going to do is add a little bit of lines with my ruler and then a little bit of journaling to talk about why we love spring. And then I'm going to add a little bit more blue splatters, and that, I believe, is going to wrap it up. Yep, there's the final layout. I love how this turned out. It was kind of hard photographing white. For some reason, you know how white is. It's impossible sometimes to get it just the perfect white. But hopefully you can see all the bright colors there. You can see the dimension. I love how the foam just brings everything into a 3D effect. It's really, really awesome. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the techniques, the products, anything at all. Make sure you check out the Cocoa Vanilla store and the website and the blog, which I have linked below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great week.